Whoa! There's still music playing, and I don't know what I'm doing because, hi, this is my first ever live stream. I think I'm possibly going out live. I have no idea. I hope you are all very well today and doing well. This is my first ever live stream, and we're going to go through some stuff today, which is really important. As you see, I'm bubbling with excitement. I mean it, bubbling up with excitement. I got to make sure. Yeah, there I am. I'm on. Good. I'm a one-man show, people. I'm a one-man show doing a one-man job. All here, everything I do is just constantly a one-man show. I'm Johnny Vedmore. I'm very happy to be doing my first live stream. It's so much more enthralling to know you guys are going to be out there. I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, I'm buzzing about it. I can take these off now. Buzzing about it. I'm going to be doing loads more live streaming. I'm going to be, doing this my first live stream, but I'm going to be doing much more of this. I'm going to be getting out there, and I'm going to be meeting people in real life as well. I'm going to be hopefully doing speaking gigs. I hope the world opens up to me this year, because I had a terrible 2023, and 2024 has got to be different. So we make it different together. But at the same time, we're making it different. There's a load of other people who are also making it different. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Beautiful. A load of beautiful people turned up. Thank you, gang. Paulie, Dragos, Anthony, Rosworth, Philip. I'm so glad you're here with me. And we are here together, and we've got to fight an agenda together. And that's what I've been enjoying starting to do over the past few years, is really get my teeth in. I used to be like most people are on social media, and I had all of these things, all of these ideas, all of these notions, all of these, ideation, and I had nowhere to put it and nowhere to place it out. And eventually I learned that you've got to be able to communicate with people. You've got to be able to communicate. And the reason I didn't communicate for a long time, the reason why probably it's taken me to now to do any type of live stream, is because for years I suffered from severe anxiety. I had low self-confidence. It got to the point at one point where after I had Graves' disease and my thyroid's out and stuff, that my whole life kind of went spiraled. It's like I felt completely different. I was, for the first time in my life, I was healthy, but then I had lost so much of my life that I just felt really sad about it. And that led to a point where I had to get on this wagon, this same wagon you guys are on, this journey to find truth, to know what is going on. Expose God! on. I agree. Listen, I've exposed a Khan or two in my time, and Herman Khan is one of the ones. And really, what we're looking at today, what we're going to look at today with the C40 stuff, is kind of related to that, of course, because this is where we're going. This is the route. This is the route. This is where we've been heading, gang. We've been put on this path in the 60s. They planned this out, mapped this out in rooms in Harvard. You had Herman Khan sitting around with John Kenneth Galbraith holding his brandy glass. You had the left of John Kenneth Galbraith mixed with the right of Henry Kissinger. William Yandell Elliott mincing around in the background, and others of the movers and shakers of the New World Order, planning out your society that's coming into fruition now. And the things they saw in the past are the things that are happening right now in the world. We are heading towards it. Happy New Year, gang. Happy New Year. Oh, earthquake. What earthquake? Earthquake. No, it's all right. I'm in Wales. We don't get earthquakes in Wales. 2.4s maybe. 2.4s. Really, it's going to take me a little bit of time getting used to the chat, getting used to live, getting used to sharing my screen without showing you all my personal information. But I'm going to go through it, and we're gonna enjoy this. We're looking at something today which is really important. Oh, I say that at the beginning of everything I do. Oh, this is really important. It's because I kind of like I analyze whether I want to do anything about a subject. When I look at people bring me stuff all the time, and a lot of the time, and this is what I had to do at the beginning of my journalistic career, was look at what everybody else wants me to write about and what everybody else wants me to do, and then say, okay, that's what everybody's doing. When you examine it, I would just be another voice in an echo chamber. And every time you go to look for something, you can't find it. I have to find the things that I think are different, but aren't being talked about. This is something that is about to be, or should be, discussed loads. Again, it's something that I've been lucky enough to already have experience on understanding. Let's make this clear. We're entering into a new stage of humanity. And the Great Reset, this whole thing that we've been saying we want to fight against and stuff, is happening in front of us, whether we like it or not. And what we have to do is take the reins of power and change its directions. Now, to understand where the directions is, you've got to be ahead of the game. And a load of people here, the people here who are here, thank you, Amy, I love you. She already knows I love her. The people here, we already know the agenda we're going on. We know what's coming in the future. But do we know what it tastes like, what it looks like, what it will mean for us, really? We can see it, and it's dystopian and dark, but it's a shadow. It's an outline. It's a black image in the distance. And megacities, that is where we're heading to. And people say, oh, well, that sounds boring, big cities and everybody's, but then they'll be convenient. And then you hear all the stuff like, you'll own nothing and be happy. In 2030, you'll live in a megacity and someone will bring your clothes to you and you'll sleep in a new house every night and you'll have to leave and you won't have any permanency. And, these sort of ideas are like, why would we need to do that? Why would we need to do that? Well, you'll see within this live stream we're doing now that they are planning out a future where we get a lot less than we have now. So they're looking at each of us and they're looking at you. So an example. This is an example. And for the ladies in the crowd, if there's ladies, I'm sure you won't like any of this. What we're about to look at now, they want to stop you from buying clothes. Because, of course, you've got to manufacture clothes and all of the rest of it, and, it costs money. So they got to stop you buying too many clothes per year. So they want to put a cap on it. So this is one of the examples of what these guys want to do. They want to put a cap on how many clothes. They want to make you only be able to buy 3 new items of clothing a year. That's it. 3. Any more, banned. Orwellian, yes. gives you the right to be able to, this is cyber communism, isn't it? This is cyber communism, because what this is saying, oh, you can, yeah, you can own everything, you can have loads of money, you can go around and you can buy up anything because you're so rich now, except there's limits to what you can buy. Limits to growth. It all goes round in a big circle of their agenda. Now, to get from where we are now to then isn't going to be just 2030. That, in 2030 you'll own nothing and be happy, was such an, it was an idealized globalist version of where we were heading. No, we're not heading there by 2030. It's going to take a bit longer than that, of course, but it's going to be incorporated and started now. They want you looking into the future and thinking it's around the corner, so you're not looking at the now and seeing what's happening. So what's the power structure? How does the power structure change? We are currently living in democracies, yeah? We're currently living in nation states. So what happens next? What happens next? We have to change from this democratic system, and the power has to move, hello Ellen, move over to the megacities. And they've already decided this. They already realized. And I cover this in something. I cover this in the Davos training. You'll find that on the Johnny Vedmore YouTube. You'll find Davos training slides where I go through each of the slides at the official Davos training from about 2012, 11, 12, I think it is, maybe a little bit before that, brought to me by an amazing researcher who I love, and I do a bit of work with here and there, called Darren Kenton, who's he looks for things that like me, I look for the things that other people haven't found. He looks for things other people haven't found. And so he found these training slides, and they were so dystopian, and they were the official World Economic, on the official World Economic Forum Flickr page, of all places, from years and years ago. And they showed the training slides, and it showed megacities. I'll show you a bit of it later. And that shows you what they see in the future. And one of the things that's of note on there is that they have to rethink power. Because as a globalist order, when they're all at the top, to stop from being accountable and responsible, they need to pass down power so that the main stakeholders of our society, the ones right at the top, are the ones who are at most held to account. And then the ones above them, these nefarious people making all the globalist decisions that these other people will have to abide by, have no accountability, are removed from, they just are rulers. They're our overlords. They are global overlords. They are ruling the planet. They are deciding, what's that, Dragos? The West slides show it quite clearly. Yes, they do. Would love to get my hands on those and comment on the parts. Well, I mean, we'll go through a couple of them. We'll look. I went through every single part of that. I'm actually planning to write full sort of analysis of each of those slides over the next 2 years. But of course, everybody knows I'm doing Searching for Stanley and all of the other stuff as well. And there's a load of other big articles coming out, big research happening. I mean, I am rolling. The last year I may have created a lot of more visual content, but I also had a lot of opportunity to plan out research for the future. I got some big things, so they need to change anyway. They need to change our structure. They need to get us from this model of presidents and prime ministers, leaders, kings and queens, to being what happens when they push us out to the next stage, which is what happens after they push us out of the countryside. Once they push us out of the countryside and into cities, power changes. Those mega cities now become the size of countries. So a mega city, I got a cat meowing at me if you can hear it at the moment. Come up here then. Mega cities of say about say 20 million. Well, there's more people that live in my country, and I'm not talking about the UK. For the people who live in America, I am from Britain. Yes, I am from the UK. I'm from Wales, and Wales is a relatively small country. What, 3-4 million, maybe a little bit more now. It's been a few years since I checked. It might even be no, it's about 3 million, 3.5 million, I'd say, at the very most. At the very most. Cardiff, the capital, the biggest city in Wales, has got 400,000, including the surrounding areas, I think. So the idea for me of living in a city of 20 million, I've seen these sort of things. I was in Chile, living in Chile over the past 2 years, and at times I had to stay in Santiago en route. And anybody who's been to one of these big cities in a country like Chile, where it's like 50%, basically, it's about 45% of the population live in Santiago in Chile. So it's like 8+ million, and it's like within hills and the desert. So it's all like growing upwards and upwards, and everybody's all closed in. And all of these places used to be really nice before COVID. the difference between before COVID and after COVID of these places, it's places like Santiago were still pretty looking pretty snazzy and doing a good job of looking good before COVID. And then after COVID, you had like homeless people everywhere, and the streets full of trash and problems everywhere. But I think they're trying to push people out of those countrysides into these megacities, and that means the power structure will change. And on these slides, these World Economic Forum slides, what you find is they say who will be in charge. The mayors, they will be the top dogs. They will be the guys who make decisions. So they will be our future presidents, you could say. And those presidents are evil. We all know. And they're even worse. Often we look at the mayors and we go, oh, God, they're awful. But thank God they're not in power. Now, let's see if I understand how to share a screen on this. I hope I do. Just before I do, I'm just going to check I'm not giving any of my bits and bobs away. Ba, 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 ba. Make a load of noise. Da, da, da. Select a window screen. Oh, I can do that. Boom. Okay. Brilliant. Now we're here, and this is one of the slides here that you can see on a video that, of course, video on Johnny Vedmore Megacities, World Economic Forum Training 101 from Bursting the Davos Bubble. And as you see, megacities are being planned out. Governance, that's the big thing. Governance, and we're talking about that today. We're talking about governance. There's loads of different things. Livability, what's the ultimate size of a city? How do we develop trust? All of these are really important. What I always found really, really interesting about this slide in particular, and I know it's hard to see at the moment. I wish I had actually prepared the slides separately in a picture. But if you go through all of this stuff, they plan out this megacity, and you get right to the middle, and by here, and it says, do we need megacities? And they don't. This is something about their agenda. They don't question it until they get to it. And so I'm going to flick across. This is my LinkedIn page. And this man here, Christopher Nguyen, I think the G may be silent. I'm going to guess the G is silent. He's talked to me a few times. He's a very nice guy. And he commented on this, and it made me have a proper look at a C40. And it started off from this article. And this article is in The Times. What we got here, just before I go into the article, the mayors are simply puppets on the string of those behind the curtain of deception, Robin. It's true. It's true. They're the puppets on the string. They're powerful puppets. And this power, this accountability has never been tested. We've never properly tested it before. So they're extremely powerful. And at the same time, we don't know how that power will settle
once we start fighting against that power. Ellen, like I said, just read out. I'm getting used to live. I like this. Hello, people chatting to me. Um, there was only a 3-week lockdown in Colombia here, and vaccines were not mandatory for work. COVID didn't change Colombia. I like Colombia. I have to say, when I've only been there intermittently when traveling down to Chile, but I did I have noticed that there was a different like vibe in Colombia. So I do like it as a country. And when in COVID, during COVID, Chile were over the top. They were crazy. Peru were mad. A lot of the South American countries just went crazy. I mean, going through Brazil was really dystopian. That was the most dystopian system I went through while I was traveling in South America. I liked Uruguay as a sort of outlook and as a people. They're pretty cool, Uruguayans. Ultimate urbanization, Dragos, completely. This is urbanization of the mind. They got to get into your mind. Yes, it's what they love, though. It's what they love. I wonder what the A had to say regarding mega cities. Well, who are the A? But I suppose they're the top. Oh, AI had to say about megacities. Oh, the great computer overlord. That's actually Henry Kissinger's brain. It was announced in the city that Bogota's 15-minute city and climate action has failed as a project in Colombia. Well, all of these projects are gonna, they're gonna keep rebranding these things, 15-minute cities and stuff. They're gonna keep rebranding this sort of stuff. They have to, because it's their only tool. They want you to choose their option, and they got to keep offering it to you with a different coat so that you go, ooh, that's different. Ooh, like this, like what we're seeing. Luxury brands. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? Luxury branding of humanity. Who are the best people at making people choose things? Well, it's the brands, of course. And this is why the Times is a really good place to start here. It's News Corp, isn't it? It's a Murdoch rag, is the Times, and it says why luxury brands are struggling and how candy shoppers can benefit. Luxury labels and e-commerce retailers have hiked prices way above the rate of inflation, prompting a consumer backlash from London to Shanghai. The boutiques on London's Bond Street, Avenue Montaigne in Paris, and Manhattan's Madison Avenue look as cool as the December weather. Unsmiling black cashmere-clad assistants dust, arrange, and then rearrange the cabinets displaying Spring-Summer 2024 collection. This is such bump. I mean, this is so far they've led you in, and they're just giving you they're just setting a theme that sounds like a Christmas advert. Ooh, how nice that they set the scene. The only detailed tarnishing, the chic tableau, is a sign in many windows. It reads, sale up to 60% off. The picture is even uglier online. Right. It's even uglier online. Oh my God, there's even bigger sales online. It's there. It's not the snazzy clothes that are being sold off at a bargain basement price. Entire firms are changing hands dirt cheap. Well, of course, because they are putting the cost down. And so this article tries to give a reason why suddenly clothes are getting more and more and more expensive. And of course, this man comes back to about this argument, Christopher. He says, is it to destroy the supply of the enemy of net zero clothes? The enemy of net zero clothes, because enemy of net zero, it's really interesting because the clothing industry and textiles industry in general it was really where the establishment became the establishment. It was the textiles industries of the 1800s and the boom that put a lot of these wealthy families up on top. A lot of them made their money from textiles, and now the same people are making textiles the enemy. It's very, very interesting. Literally taking the clothes off your back. The net zero carbon consumption target, 3 items of clothing per year per person. Source: the future of urban consumption in the 1.5 degree world. It adds a little note here from the table, and we're going to look through some of these tables. Consumption intervention for clothing and textiles in associated targets. Consumption intervention, reduce number of clothing and textile items. Ambitious target in 2030. Like I say, I'm looking at 2040. This is their in 2030 you'll own nothing and be happy. That's their ambitious target. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's 2040, 2050 is when they want that vision, but 2030 is when they want to aim at it to make everybody move fast. So 3 new clothing items per person. You're only allowed 3. You're only allowed 3. Don't be silly. Why would you want more? Why would you want more clothes? Why would you want more clothes? What, you have holes in your clothes? What? Oh, your bum's being exposed. Well, why don't you just go on OnlyFans? You'll make a load of money and you can buy another 1 set of clothes. Is that your allowance? Yes. God. Yeah, thrift stores have been around since medieval times. Indeed. So what will they do? They will attack thrift stores. You know it. You know the charity sector, which helps, is going to be taken away so that they can make more money eventually. I mean, thrift stores can only go for as long as they can afford to be thrift stores and get all of the tax breaks and the benefits from, in the UK, for instance, being part of the voluntary sector, I think it's called. If it hasn't changed since the 90s, and I did an advanced GMVQ in leisure and tourism, which I failed miserably because I was high all of the time and ill. There you go. I found Fossil all leather wallet brand for brand new for. I thought I said $3,000. $3. That wallet goes for over. Agreed. Thrift stores are the place to go. Yes, Amy, to encourage people to shop at thrift stores completely. It's funny. Yeah, they are going to rent out clothes. Ellen, they are going to rent out clothes. Virgo says, my wardrobe is already at bare minimum, mostly jeans and t-shirts. Well, this is the thing as well. What they'll do, and think about this, they'll reduce the allocation of water that's allowed to be used eventually on smart devices. Have you thought about that? In 15 years, they'll have the ability to control your washing machine, how many times you're allowed to use it. Because think about that. If they're saying you're only allowed to buy 3 items of clothes per year, the next stage is you're only allowed to use your stuff this much because of all of these different things as well. And that leads on to you not only being able to get 3 pairs of clothes, but not being able to wash your clothes most of the time because you've gone past your allocation, citizen. Yes. Rented clothes, indeed. Well, that's what they say in the actual you'll own nothing and be happy advert that they've got. Someone brings you your clothes. You don't have clothes. You don't have a wardrobe. Someone comes along and brings you your clothes. What am I wearing today? I'm going to I think I'll have that selection that's on this animated model. Like you're a child. Like, oh, I'm going to I'll move that over to there, move that over to there. And what will they do? They will bring all of those buy all of those clothes from thrift shops. So that's where the thrift shops will go. They'll just buy up all the thrift shop clothes, and the ones who don't take part in society in the same ways, they won't get the same amount of clothes. No, they won't get it. They'll have to have a lesser. They'll have to have the thrift shop clothes that once you wear them smell of someone else's sweat. There you go. Yes. Or everybody in a uniform. I agree. Everybody, put them all in uniforms immediately. Right. So let's get into the nuts and bolts then, folks. Let's get into the nuts and bolts. We're in here, the C40 cities. And this website, and like I said, I haven't gone, deep analyzing this beforehand, because a lot of these things we're going to discover together, and then we're going to talk about it together. I have a lot of knowledge about megacities, about how the cabal works, about all of these different people who are involved in this, but I really do think it's really important for us to do this stuff together. Right, let me just change. I'm making noises like that. Oh, let me just change the screens around, officer. Oh, move that across there. Maybe that'll work. And that there. Perfect. There you go. Bigger screens now, people. Bigger screens. Look, we're posh. Ha! We've been allocated a larger screen size. Be grateful. Be grateful for what you've got. You're allowed 2 socks and a t-shirt. What do you mean 2 socks? You said 3 items of clothing. Yes, 3 items of clothing, but socks are in pairs. You'll all be walking around in... Okay, I'll have 1 sock, boxer shorts, and a hat. This is what the Sim City in the future looks like. Their version of Sim City is you walking around in dirty underwear that someone else's dirt. 1 sock and a hat. That's what they want for you, and that's what the C40 is all about. Here we go. C40 World Mayor Summit in Buenos Aires. So what about the C40? Who are they? What are they doing? Learn about C40's mission, guiding principles in the action. Well, these, don't be naive. These people are the leaders of the future. These are the ones who are setting up what our world is going to look like, and it really will look like this. It really will look like this. Here we go. Who are we? C40 is a global network of nearly 100 mayors of world's leading cities that are united in action to confront the climate crisis. Global warming or global cooling or whatever it is, whatever crisis we can say. It's raining outside. It is literally raining outside. Actually, I better move this because I do have every now and again, and this may happen in the live stream, okay? I've had to edit it out when it's happened in actual other episodes. I don't have the most pricey life in the world, and sometimes my skylight leaks all of a sudden. So if you see me jump up and a load of water splash past me all over my electrics, that's the life. That's it. That's why they want to move us into mega cities so we can all be leaky together. Anyway, it's raining outside. Oh no, the terror of the rain. I didn't expect it to rain. Oh, you didn't expect it to rain, and I can trick you. That means that's something you've done, isn't it? You didn't expect it, did you? It's because you were smoking, and because you smoke or you drive somewhere, it means it's your fault. It's not the companies pumping out shit all over the place and then seeding shit into the air so make things rain. No, that doesn't happen. So anyway, global network of 100 mayors. Sorry to go off there. Mayors of C40 cities are committed to using an inclusive, science-based, luckily they own the science, people, we're glad they own the science, science-based and collaborative approach to cut their fair share of emissions in half by 2030. Help the world limit global heating to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Like that makes any sense. Like that makes any sense. And build healthy, equitable, and resilient communities. C40 supports mayors to do this by raising climate ambition. This is it. Completely, escalation, constantly. Everybody, I just stop there and just say, Happy New Year, Puppet Master Fool. Happy New Year, you all. But it's exponential growth of fear leads to them accelerating their agenda in line with it, and fostering innovation. That's innovation that suits them and not you, of course. Building equitable and thriving communities via global and regional programs. Of course, equitable and thriving communities. Equitable. Everybody gets a share in communism. Wait a minute, equitable. Everybody getting a share in thriving communities. Ooh, via global and regional programs. It sounds like it might be like pseudo speech for global communism. Let's have a state of global communism, or as we call it, global communitarianism, or even actually, what shall we call it? The Great Reset and stakeholder capitalism, where the people with a stake in society get to believe that they're still within a capitalist system while they're actually being communism is being forced upon them. Building a global movement through robust international advocacy and diplomacy, building that global movement. That global movement is global. It's hard to touch. It's hard to grasp. It's global. It's hard to keep to account. You'll have to have the mayors. The mayors will have to hold to account. Have you ever tried to hold a mayor to account? They're not Dick Whittington, I can promise you that. Scaling up climate action, scaling up and sharing best practices across high impact sectors. That's you walking around with someone else's dirty underwear, one sock and a hat that says hit me. Facilitating access to finance for investment in green jobs. Green jobs, so those are the best jobs, better than those blue jobs, that's for sure. And projects that improve resilience is in city, the resilience of a city. So you can already hear that that's all their lingo for who are we. Well, we want to do all of these things. It doesn't really say who you are. It says what you want to do. You're 100 mayors who want to do all of these things. Yeah, but who are you? Who are you? Well, we'll find out who they are. We know already. We know. They're the same people. They're the same people. And a load of them are intelligence linked. A load of them are linked up with, if not, they're conduits of people who are intelligence linked. I mean, Michael Bloomberg's involved in this. Sadiq Khan, I find him a bit repulsive. Eventually, if someone like Daniel Korski gets in, Nicole Youngkerman's mate, who brought in the Jeffrey Epstein associate, who's part of like an Israeli spy company called Carbine 9/11. Well, Daniel Korski brought her into the NHS, and he's looking to become Lord Mayor of London, isn't he? So that will be your mayors. Those are the people who will decide how your entire megacity surveils you constantly, whatever you want and however you want. I'm just going to go back to comments. Wow, now it's climate. Hey, I know. This climate goes up, climate goes down. They love it. Hi, Doug. Nice to have you with me, with us. We're all here. What are the thriving community based on this plan? Yeah, what is a thriving community? Indeed, a thriving community is one that sees their stake in society, the rich people's stake in society, increase. Most of the mayors in America are in blue commie states. Indeed. That there's a reason behind that. I mean, one of the things I like about America that has a natural balance is that once the blues eventually get rid of all of their guns and put on the agenda, the reds will come with their guns and say, well, you don't have any guns left anymore. And then we'll all start again, won't we? So hopefully the blue agenda it like shoots itself in the foot by not having guns. Look at that pun and how it works. They can't shoot themselves in the foot, or they shoot themselves in the foot and drop the gun. Who knows? So our cities in the C90 network earn their membership through action. So there you go. Membership. Think about this online constantly. We're giving things. You'd be a bit of that group, a bit of that group, a bit of that group, and some people are group collectors. A lot of people I research, like Stanley Pottinger. If you look at his father, John Pottinger Senior, he was chairman of the boards, he was commissioner of commissioners, he was all of these different groups, loads of different groups, and then his son goes on to do exactly the same, be head quarterback, leader of this, leader of that, leader of the other. They co-opt and they become the top in all membership groups, and then they get other people to join them, and they then tell them where to go, and they steer them, of course. Our leadership standards set a minimum requirement for all member cities and safeguard the integrity of C40 as a network of climate leaders. That's such a, because this is all about putting in ESG, sustainable development goals, all of that sort of stuff, and incorporating them within cities where the majority of people live. So if you want to start off, get everybody to actually start off properly, then you want to target the ones where they live, the places where people live and the infrastructure they live in, which is of course cities. So memberships operate on performance-based requirements, not on fees. We don't make you pay in money. We make you pay in blood. We make you pay in population reduction. We make you pay with your citizens living in tents with one pair of pants, one sock, and a hat. It says, hit me. Please, God, hit me. I need to feel pain again. And every city in the C40 network is reviewed annually against our leadership standards. Oh, God, I bet you their standards are good, aren't they? Are you committing to the globalist agenda? Yes. Oh, well done. You get your membership renewed. Hey. So, C40 Leadership Standards 2021 to 2024. Plan. Delivery, mainstream, innovate, lead. This is just so World Economic Forum, and these things are designed and planned out by people like Edelman PR, who's the right-hand man, Richard Edelman of World Economic Forum's Klaus Schwab. Of course, they do the Edelman Trust Barometer, where you'll find a lot of this discussed beforehand. Good morning, if only Kay. How are you? I hope you are well. Welcome. Let's go through each of these. Plan. City has adopted a resilient and inclusive climate action plan aligned with the 1.5 ambition of the Paris Agreement and updates it regularly. There you go. So that's one of the things. That's one of the membership criteria, I think. Deliver. In 2024, City remains on track to deliver its climate action plan, contributing to increased resilience, equitable outcomes, and halving C40's overall emissions by 2030. Bullshit. I mean, it does not matter whether they do all of that. They will be kept in. They will be part of the club anyway. They're always going to be part of the club. Mainstream. City uses its necessary financial, regulatory, and other tools to its disposal to address the climate crisis. Now, that means that they turn their money-making tools into towards the same thing that governments are turning them towards. This is a way to co-opt mayoral candidate, and say, you have that power, now you have to point it over here, or you won't be part of the club. And they make it clear it's a membership club. Of course, all of these guys, membership club. Financial, regulatory, and other tools at their disposal to address climate crisis and mainstreams their equitable climate target into the most impactful decision-making processes, which of course what we mean is you'll have to make 15-minute cities that will then lead to rising up into megacities, because once they've got the technology to build layer upon layer, to build big towers, massive, enormous blocks everywhere, then they will have you, won't they? They will have you stuck in these cages, and the only way is up, but literally up. Innovate. City innovates and starts taking inclusive and resilient action to address emissions beyond direct control of the city government, such as associated with goods and services consumed in their city. You'll own nothing and be happy. And lead. Mayor and city demonstrate global climate leadership and inspire others to act in support of the Paris Agreement. So you will not be a member of the club. You will not be allowed in the club unless you do everything that is necessary to allow the global agenda to work. So mayors have become a globalist tool to initiate the globalist world order, which is the same really as a technocratic world order. Is just that's the ideology or the focus of the global world order. C40 mayors have been at the forefront of climate leadership for over 15 years. Oh, they must be really nice guys. Driving the conversation around climate action and environmental justice to place these issues front and center in our local policies And on the international agenda, oh, heroes, heroes, heroes. And look, oh, it's principles. They've got principles. God, can you even? Yeah, I agree, Paulie. Eugenics. What have we got here? Let's go back. Let's go back across and see what people are saying. So I see Robin saying it seems from a legal standpoint these orgs are private entities entering into the yeah, of course, private public partnerships. This is what this is. This is the marrying up. This is the way to co-opt these positions that are public into the private sector. Doug, I live in Stratford-upon-Avon. Oh, I spent lots of naughty time in my youth in Stratford-upon-Avon. And small cameras are going up on lampposts on in and out of routes everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years you go to Aston Cantlow, please drive slowly, as it says on the sign, Aston Cantlow, please drive slowly, a little tiny village that's outside Stratford-upon-Avon. I bet you there'll be cameras looking at you at every angle, because that's what they're looking at in the future. We're looking at having that, aren't we? We're just everywhere, just not just Stratford themselves, but eventually outside too. And then you can start reprimanding people for their behavior in the countryside and make them feel not so safe, but get used to surveillance more, so that they'll eventually it'll be easier to acclimatize them to that surveillance-based city-state. City-states. We have gone from city-states, evolution into nation-states, like nation-state, Weimar Republic sort of model stuff, going on to where we are now and the past 100 years or so of nation-states, of how we see nation-states now through the world wars. And now we're going back to city-states again. We're going back to it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Exactly. Private public partnerships. Public-private partnerships only serve to disarm the public of their agency. Suddenly, what was public law becomes an ongoing negotiation in which the public cedes its power. Completely right, Amy. Completely right. The public has a small p and the private has a big P. I think that's the best, one of the best ways to say it. I'm glad Amy's here. She's a wise one. Indeed, eugenics. All of this is built upon you follow it back. You get back to the same people, and a lot of this is attached with Fabianism as well. Okay, so a lot of this is when they fear socialist mayors here, they're creating them into something else. They're trying to co-opt them. It's very complicated, right? But basically, they are more likely, rather than to be socialist, they're more likely to be Fabians. They're more likely to be allowed into power if they're part of the Fabian. Any of the Fabian groups, and they're looking for the same thing: the slow decrease in population without anybody really noticing. The UN, where we go? I believe they will soon replace car tax with pay-by-mile taxation, hence cameras. Yeah, definitely happening in other places as well. The UN, United Nations, has a big role in all this nonsense. Indeed, from the off. I mean, if you want the state of the world today, one of the big, it rings in my head over and over again. Start of the United Nations, 1945, they stick in a load of people into offices, and some of them are don't have a nation. Like Nahum Goldman, who's going to sit in the United Nations, a really close friend to Eleanor Roosevelt, who was head of parts of the setup of the United Nations, very close friend, who was one of the founding fathers of Israel. And he was given an office there to start lobbying for the creation of Israel, to take Palestine away from the Palestinians. So from the off, the United Nations started their skullduggery, their attempt to create instability in the world, and then came Kissinger's planning out through the 50s of perpetual limited warfare, constant warfare. It's really interesting how much they involved in what is happening today. Wait for the car tax. One inhales and exhales. Yeah. There was a paper published recently wailing about the amount of CO2 we breathe out. I know. Oh God, isn't it too? For carbon-based creatures, we really don't like carbon. I think it's a form of self-hate. Bilderberg Nazi headquarter. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I mean, they're all parts of the same club, aren't they? Glassback, yes, I saw that as well. I hate carbon for odd reasons. Well, Ellen, I'm glad you hate something at least. Let's do. I mean, I've already opened up the. Why not? Don't you want to see the nice people who believe in your future? Don't you want to see what the steering committee looks like? Here you are. The steering committee provides strategic oversight to ensure C40's mission and mandates are directly driven by and responsive to the needs of C40 cities. Led by the chair, steering committee members represent C40's geographical diversity and lead on the key organizational focus areas. So there you go. So Sadiq Khan. Oh. So glad Sadiq Khan's there. I trust him. Loads and loads. Oh, look. And the next one's the mayor of Freetown in Sierra Leone. There's two main cities in Sierra Leone. So eventually they'll just be the mega cities, won't they? There's Freetown and there's B-O. I like that. Phoenix. Mayor Kate Gallego. We've got Lord Mayor Sophie Halstrop Anderson. All of these, like the top, they look, you've already heard them, these type of characters speak. They're so detached from reality. But look, these are the big places. This is why it's important to look at this, right? Paris, Dhaka North, Nairobi, Tokyo, Bogota, Seoul, Montreal, Milan, Hong Kong. These are some of the biggest cities in the world, cover the most populations in their parts of their countries. The board of directors. Who's on the board of directors? Gotta be nice guys, hasn't it? C40 board of director oversight the management of C40, approving the budget that delivers the strategic goals set by the steering committee. The board consists of representatives from C40 strategic funders and member cities, and is presided over by Michael R. Bloomberg. He drifts off back into the shadows every time you bring out holy water or cross. There he is. So these are the people involved. Look at them. A guy who, Michael Bloomberg, who mayor and 108th mayor of New York City, of course, another one of the mayor, UN Secretary General Special Envoy for Climate Ambition and Solutions. Of course he is. So again, you see where the UN is connected with these groups. Head of Environment, Bloomberg for Philanthropy. So obviously these two are linked. And listen to some of these. Global Director of Climate at the Children's Investment Fund Foundation. I mean, as soon as you've created your company, you're a billionaire, and you've called it the Children's Investment Fund Foundation. No doubt you have basements and tunnels. That's all I'm saying. Basements and tunnels. I think you all know. Oh, look at Nygaard. Jasper Nygaard. I'm sure no relation. CEO of Real Dania. Ooh, Real Dania. What's Real Dania? There we go. Mr. Nygaard obtained MSc from Rockside. Chairman of Real Dania Biombike Bolius. Vice chairman of, I don't know what that is. Oh, and he's part of a Danish soccer club. How nice. Let's get out of there. Bruce Lindsay. What's Councillor and chair the board for the Clinton Foundation. Well, he's got to be a nice guy, hasn't he? Oh, look, Bruce joined the foundation in 2001 as general counsel and became CEO in 2003. Ooh, well, the Clinton Foundation were in bed with Jeffrey Epstein. Literally in bed with Jeffrey Epstein. Literally in bed with Jeffrey Epstein. And there were other people in the bed too. But literally, that's the peak years. The 2000, remember, Jeffrey Epstein starts getting investigated in 2004, gets arrested first in 2005. 2002 is when Bill Clinton is riding around with Jeffrey Epstein in his plane. I think it's 2002. I wrote an article on it. I should know. I always doubt myself. Always have to double check. Bruce served as assistant to the president. Oh, and deputy counsel to president through President Clinton's 2-term office. Oh, how did that go for Clinton? How did that work out? Yeah. And he had the law firm in Little Rock, so he's actually a Little Rock. Oh, and a BA from Rhodes College. Well, we won't talk about that because it's. That's got to be Rhodes in Greece, surely. Anyway, Jennifer Samakula. Oh, she's an independent. She's an independent. She's got nothing in the fight. Is a transformational leader with 3 decades of experience in turning around institutions and systems in challenging settings. She was the first executive director of Kampala, the capital city of Uganda. She was the executive director of a city. A role comparable to mayor. Comparable, but not quite. Oh, and also city lead in the residence of Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative. Oh, everybody, look down there. There you go. That's the next article you see in the independent media come up at some time this year. Whether it's me or someone else, it makes no difference. Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative. If you want to investigate something and you want to investigate something you know is going to be full of snakes, then my friends, Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative has many clues in that title. And especially that, well, she's just an independent. Just a black woman who's hanging around with the gang, with the Bloombergs, just hanging around. That's what they do, isn't it? They co-opt. And this is the ultimate co-opt. Every single deputy mayor for environment and energy in London. Okay, you already can't trust probably a Tory, maybe a Labour, maybe a Liberal, maybe an Independent. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to say the word, but it begins with C and ends with T. Caroline Udia, who's Secretary of Environment in Bogota. And then we've got someone from Milan, head of international affairs. That's probably quite a big one, to be honest, because the noble families in Italy are so loaded and powerful. An undersecretary for economic affairs and finance in Jakarta. Jakarta, such a massive. So you can see, listen, that's just their steering committee. That's just their board of directors. I'm not sure if their management team will be any difference, but no doubt you'll click on them. They'll be either in bed with the World Economic Forum, the UN, the Clintons, or the Bloombergs. That would be what my guess is. Ooh. Oh, World Wildlife Fund. You can trust them because they got a panda on the front. The creature that just wants to kill itself, it seems. What else? And just having a quick look. Climate action, climate this, climate that. Ooh, World Bank. Ooh, energy-related roles at the World Bank. Well, I can trust them. As you see, you've got the nefarious buggers who were involved in it. Now I'm going to go back to the chat. I'll leave these guys' pictures on the screen. You can see how lovely they are. Aren't they lovely? Let's look at the comments for a bit. I guess these folks don't need carbon to live. No. Basically, they're building an elite utopia. The elite will be the only white people. Maybe a stretch. Yeah, it's true. But they will elect all of these people on the bandwagon and then push them off the sides, and they live in a past, don't they? They live in their head. They create a future, but they're lying to you, and really they're living in a deep, dark past, which is, of course, is going to be racist. Of course, It's not going to include. I'm from Wales. I tell you, we're looked down upon in Britain. I meet people. I worked in hotels for years. We're a reception desk. It's as simple as this. You'd have English people come in and go, I've never been to Wales. I'd come here and I'd heard so many bad things about people saying how nasty the people were and how stupid they were. And then I got here and I discovered they were all really nice. And it's like, oh yeah, the next door neighbours were being racist about us. And it's white people being racist against white people. But it's not actually white people, is it? It's white people from Wales is a collection of 5 tribes. England is a collection of like 10, 15 tribes. Scotland is a collection of like, including the Orkneys and stuff, probably about 7 tribes. You know, we may be white on the outside, but that would be like saying all Africa would be the same, you know, and missing out that you've got distinct genetic groups. And that's what I find interesting as well. Basically, they're building elite utopia. You know, the elite's the only white people. That's what I just read out. I'm very good at doing that, reading things twice. Global Parliament of Mayors, a player in this C40. Yes, a global parliament of mayors. Yeah, some sort of like, oh, we don't like the way we're being treated in the cities. Oh, the mayors will get together and we'll decide how we can change it. And then they go to their boss and go, can we do that? No, okay, we'll brand it in a different way. We'll say we changed it and we won't do anything. These folks are immersed into the inversion conversion, Robin. Yes, they are. They want to control carbon. It's complete insanity. Yep. Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and the Netherlands C40. Yeah. Well, yeah. I tell you, Amsterdam and Rotterdam are 2 brilliant examples of cities that are ready to be swallowed up into this agenda. You know, Amsterdam. I've been to Amsterdam 8 times. I smoke weed, so I can't help it. I love Amsterdam. And Amsterdam is a really interesting place, really vibrant, really fun. Love it. But you can see that there's a lot of scope for them saying, oh, well, you know, parts of it are sinking. We need to restructure. We may as well build a big high rise over here and over here and over here. And the lowlands of the Netherlands flood so regularly with climate change. We're going to have to move you into these safe mega cities while we have the infrastructure to allow those areas, the other areas, to flood and make it look like whatever we want to do. So yeah, I'm not surprised they're targeted. I agree with Ellen. What's unfortunate, humanity buys into these lies. Indeed. Wonder glassback DIY. Wonder if he has his own pizza parlor. Oh, a few around the place, I tell you. A few around. Anything Clintonish is corrupt and suspect. Yes, anything. You can know they are the purveyors of an evil agenda. They will constantly be associated. They love to put themselves in with the New World Order. They don't care. And they're trying to make the next generation. You know, Bill and Hillary might have ruined Chelsea Clinton's chances of becoming big now, but eventually she'll be running for office, and so will her children. Remember, her children will be part of that dynasty. Okay, Clinton drug runaway. Sorry, I just wanted to sing there. The blending of all races, eugenics. Meanwhile, the elite pure blood whites will be the gods. Indeed, they will push everybody out. Keyword transformationist. The Fabian way is infiltration of the mind. Infiltration of the mind, so you can infiltrate everything really slow speed, and before you know it, everybody agrees with you. It's a very clever way. I will be doing a bit of work on that, of some stuff I found out about Fabianism this year during the elections. Paulie, I bet they are all well paid to do this. Yes, they are. Seems like a lot of staff to manage networking, less than 100 minutes. Yes. The police, it's the people through taxes that pay for all of this. Yes, of course. I mean, we pay for everything they've got. We pay for their lovely swimming pools because our system is corrupt. Exactly, Virgo. Hello, Virgo. Along with private foundations, yep. Their reward, not they do not have to follow the globalist rules. Yes, yes, yes. That's the way it works. Their reward is that they get to set the game that they don't have to play, and that keeps us stuck on some form of enigma of a chessboard. I know Robin Papa Lucas. I got it. But they are very paid to fulfill these dreams. Agreed, Paulie? Yes, everybody agrees with Paulie. Paulie, you know what you're talking about? Grove Dodger? Grove Dodger. Groove Dodger. I thought I said Grove Dodger. I thought you were talking about Bohemian Grove. Yeah, you want to dodge that place. Global Parliament of Mayor's website is interesting. Their self-proclaimed global governance. It's crazy, isn't it? Amsterdam is always no rules, anything goes utopia. Really fun, much different in the 90s. God, great live show. Thanks, Doug. Thanks. I'm my first one. It's my first time a live virgin. So last time I'll probably say that. Paulie, they really know how to crash and burn a party. Yes, they do. So you can see that these guys have got a lot of staff. Getting back to this now. Gonna have a little drink while we peruse. Look at these faces. Holy hell, in a handbag. There's 19 pages of these faces. Our team. Yes, our team. Our team. Right, okay, here we go. Does anybody see the Luntz-Wexner analysis come into play? I know that people who follow me may see me tweet about it here and there, mention it here and there, include it in the second Junkerman piece, of course, which is about where Epstein and Junkerman went on September the 1st, 2002, when she flew alone with him, and they went to Foxcote House in North Warwickshire near Stratford upon Avon, which we were talking about earlier, where they went on a hunting retreat. And the Luntz-Wexner analysis, it was really just like a kind of plan to get two senators they were meeting to obviously lean towards the Iraq War. Or it could have also been something to do with the Amber Alert bill that Hillary Clinton was introducing 2 days later at the start of the new Senate. Yes, Hillary Clinton was the one who introduced the Amber Alert bill about missing kids, while her husband's going around with the biggest paedophile child trafficker in the world. Think about it. Well, the Luntz-Wexner analysis that came a year later by funded by Les Wexner and put out by Frank Luntz, was examining how to use propaganda to sway people's minds. And one of the big thing was get a good female spokesperson. Get a good women. You want an agenda done? You put women at the forefront of the agenda, because otherwise what is going to happen? Well, everybody's going to go, I don't believe men. Look at this. Look at this. Spot you got a few, of course you got a few men, but what you'll see over and over again is mainly women, usually women of who aren't white, because we've been learned to distrust white people, that we listen to everybody else nowadays. But I bet you the majority of the people slogging around who are going to front this up, the majority are going to be vastly women. Look at this. It's like there's a few men on each page. That I'm sure Christopher Horn has been was repeated. But again, you can see it's fundamentally, mostly so far, been women. Women, mostly black women, Latin women, Asian women. You know why? Because women are trusted, and that is simply it. And you know what this agenda will eventually lead to? Women not being trusted at all. Now, I haven't actually said where these people are from. I've just been going through, but you can see some of their roles as content officer. Yes, I do not like your content. Take it down. City advisor for Addis Ababa. Well, you know, I'm not sure necessarily that these people. Frankie down. I always like one when they don't include the picture. It always makes me think that's nefarious as hell. But this is it. This is the agenda brought to you by women. brought to you by women. Sorry, women who are watching this. I know they're using females as a tool, which is something that they've done throughout society, immemorial. We always use women because, quite simply, women are the best things around, and we're rubbish at doing anything, and no one believes us, so we use women. And so, if someone puts out a bunch of females and says, "Believe our agenda," still look at the agenda. Women can still be fallible. Women can still be greedy. Women can still not realize they've been tricked. There are a load of these people here. Now, maybe not this top table here. These people will be well in cahoots. And you'll notice at the top table is 50-50 men and women, because it's no longer like the ones who have to persuade you. But you know, a lot of the people who are we just looked through, a lot of these other people, these people, a lot of them have no idea what they're involved in. How desperate am I to eat sometimes? Sometimes I think, I'd work for anybody if I can get some money. I'd do anything if I could get some money. I thought that in the past over and over. Please, God, give me a chance. I need anything right now. I can't pay my rent. I can't do this. I can't that. Those things go through your mind constantly when you're so you're willing to take any job that comes around the corner. Many times I've been willing to take any job that comes around the corner. But what I've applied for is jobs that I know I can do without bending over morally or ethically. Maybe a lot of these guys they're just not educated enough. Maybe in Kuala Lumpur they don't have a good understanding of the Western New World Order and how it works. Maybe in Addis Ababa the lady's been gone through so much turmoil in her life that she hasn't got an opportunity to understand why she doesn't want to work for these people. There is a lot to be said. Look how many. It's amazing how many women are involved in this. It's amazing. And I have to say another thing about the female of the species is we know standard they're a lot more forgiving than men. A lot more forgiving. So they're likely to say, okay, well, I'll let that slide. Okay, well, I'll let that slide to keep the peace. And it's not a bad trait. It's a massively important, but it leads to some women just giving away all of their power, all of their responsibility, all of their ownership. And that's really important. These people aren't necessarily grasping the ownership for what they're doing. Now, we'll get on to that. Go back and see if anybody's been angry about what I said about women. Oh, useless women! No, it's not true. It's not true. I love them. I'm such a fan. Victoria's Secret. Yes. Alan, but Paulie says useless women. The problem is that women have to take their own power back. That's why radical feminism was pushed out by people like Gloria Steinem and others, so that the idea of woman can be seen as this bland, malleable image of do-gooders who will just do what the state wants. That's what they wanted to introduce. Radical feminism does not fit into that. So they've beaten it out of the system. And though some people will be like, oh, radical feminism, though, that means you're bloody nuts. It's like, no, that means you're pushing the boundaries of what woman means. And in doing so, you're discovering where people have made the boundaries synthetically, where they've put up barriers that you have to overcome. Keeping looking through the dragon mothers. Michael Zarian exposes these evil women. Yeah, well, some women are evil. A lot of women commit evil crimes as well. Yes, they do, just a different type. They don't necessarily beat and murder, but what they do is they submit. Okay, it's a very. I mean, it's male, female. If you look at all of the traits, women are much more likely to submit. And you know, there's something sensual and sexual about that as well. You know, if anybody who's had partners, anybody who's had sex knows that you know there's a lot of women in the world who prefer to submit and prefer to a guy to take charge, take control. The majority, you know, You can't, but you can't judge the all of them by the majority, and then the majority has a spectrum of extremes, I suppose, as well. Um, it's the sugar and spice and everything nice tripe that's been in play about women. It's completely foolishness. Yes, Virgo. No person is all good. No person is all good. They are a mixture of all different types of things. And I honestly, I can tell you, some of my experience with women have been really, really negative, and I've tried to be really nice and kind in relationships and be honest, and then discovered that in return you get the complete opposite back, and you bollocks, man. I had this, idealized version of what a woman is, and if I hadn't, then maybe I would be treating my relationship differently. Maybe I wouldn't have been in certain relationships I was in as well. But it's hard for everybody. Men, there's no relativeness here. Saying that women can be bad doesn't say that men are better. Don't get that wrong. Don't get that wrong. We're all humans, humane. That's an interesting. Wexner's textile and accessory businesses are geared towards women. Yes, they are. In actual fact, when he started up, I did a load of my research and writing, which wasn't credited properly, in One Nation Under Blackmail. Was a part of it was looking at Les Wexner's early career. And investigating the Jewish organizations around it. And when Les Wexner set up, he was aiming at what he called teenies and tweens, which were like these young kids who were just like prepubescent to puberty. That's where he's aiming at. And then it was all about, like, the clothing was all about making them look like adults. So you can see where these people come. But he's someone who said he had a book. That's a man who said he had a demon that told him what to do. Les Wexner literally says in the newspaper article, most amazing newspaper article, he has a demon that lives on his shoulder and tells him what to do, and he has to do the most evil things that this demon does. Why? It's insane. When you hear it, you go, oh man, is he just making that up just to expel responsibility again, take away ownership again? Is that another way? Oh, I'm psychologically disturbed, so it doesn't matter what I do. But he's a nasty man, and he's looking for the worst. He always thought about what's the worst thing he could do and then do it, and then it makes him money. Why? That's the devil. Robin, Madeline Albright comes to mind. Yes. Hello, everyone. Oh, MTL, Momzilla. Oh, my God. I'm such a big fan. We core, my core love. I love you. Hi. And Robin, hello again. He's saying women can be very deceptive as well, yes. The colonizers have abolished the matriarchal systems. There's a good reason for that. Why wouldn't you? When really the answer is finding the true feminine. Yeah, the true feminine. The answer to all, I really mean this. I am a great believer. However much I examine the world, the biggest problem we have today is that women have been stylized into something that they're not, and they live that life. And once they get out of that, our society starts to make sense again. Because at the moment, one of the biggest problems we had is that I think when we entered into the world of brainwashing, mass mainstream media, all of this stuff, once we entered into that world, what we did is we targeted at the most susceptible people who were sitting in front of the TVs. And at that time, during the 50s and 60s and 70s, the housewives were the ones who were there with their kids, bringing up the kids, and often they weren't working. They were literally housewives. And that led a generation to be completely brainwashed by this very high output feed of suggestion that has come from mainstream media for years and years, donkey's years. So yeah, we need to get back to it. People are a bitch. All of them. Be surprised that many evil women are behind most secret societies. Look at the Order of the Garter. The Queen ruled this society for yeah. But the Queen was really ahead of a monarchic institution, of a very patriarchal institution in that sense. But again, people ended up, people who worship these patriarchal systems bow their knees to whoever's in power, whether it be a woman or a man. So it makes no difference. And when I say patriarchal system, I'm not like saying you got to burn them down because they're patriarchal. I'm saying that they're set up in a way that co-ops certain parts of our society, and we should have a much more equal, like a dual. There should be duality, a bit of matriarchy, a bit of patriarchy, mix it all together, and in the end, you probably got reality, haven't you? Because it's all 50-50, or at least 49.9%. 50.1. Puppet Master. These people have been brainwashed. They have been bought into a cult in many cases. These women now believe that they have power that they did not have before. Yeah, cult of Diana was destroyed by Rome using the Bible. Could argue, okay, the Queen ruled Order the Garter. Yeah. Wow, a demon. There is a lot in that statement. Yeah, the book. He said it himself. I mean, it came up in One Nation Under Blackmail, but it's from an article, an interview. It's a completely amazing story. He's so mental, completely, and they all are. They all are. So does Alex Jones demons as car passengers? Oh God. There's demons as carpa. I don't. So does Alex Jones demons? I don't know what that means. Authentic woman. Humanity has a hard time understanding evil women in the world. Yeah. We don't want to look at it. We men can be so easily deceived, and then pulling power off certain parts can make a man into a servile fool. Pussy hair pulls. Yes, but at the end of the day, those women are often being led by a system that doesn't work for them anyway, does it? It works for the men, and they have to change themselves into men to be able to get into it. And that doesn't mean just like away from being a mother and the stereotypical version of a housewife. I mean, being away from a woman, which is a woman, is a whole collection of experience, isn't it? So the basis of why these nefarious groups are doing all of this stuff is a new research shows how urban consumption drives global emission, and this is what it's about. It's about really you putting ESGs, sustainable development goals, into action on a base level. And so for that, you need, say, strong action from mayors, business and citizens is driving down emissions created locally. But emissions from urban consumption of goods like foods and clothing, along with materials used to construct urban buildings, are set to double without action. Emissions due to consumption in high-income cities must be reduced by 2/3 in the next decade to avert the climate crisis. Doing so would save hundreds of thousands of lives and generate billions in savings. And read the press release in Spanish. So what they're saying there is, listen, your as they say in the next sentence, your climate footprint is too big, isn't it? So, and the problem is, what is it? Food and clothing. Now, how would we get away with creating less food and less clothing? Let's think about it. Should we think about it? How about we write it up into something, which this wonderful PDF put forward by the wonderful Christopher, who I mentioned at the beginning. The future of urban consumption in a 1.5 degree world. This is the C40's headline, city's headline report. This is it. Look, they put, oh look, there's a crane. It is a car about to drive off a road that leads to nowhere. There's a plane. They're bad planes, even though all of the people in power own planes. Ooh, look, you can choose. There you go. You can choose. Oh, swipe. I'll have those jeans tomorrow. Okay. I'll go down the, you'll have to trade in your last jeans. Understand? Oh, look, it's a cow, and he's standing on a banana. Of course. A cow on a banana. That explains a lot. Welcome to the New World Order. And so we can see a RUP big group. I met some people when I was working in hotels who worked for a RUP. They had an offices in Cardiff. And I remember asking one woman what she did in a RUP. What do a RUP do? And she was like, oh, it's impossible to explain. And I went and looked, and I was like, oh, sounds like a nefarious bunch of guys. University of Leeds is, of course, now going to gain my interest a little bit. University of Leeds, for people who don't know Leeds, Leeds is the Hellmouth, of course. That's the place where Jimmy Savile come from. That's the gateway to hell on earth. Well, in actual fact, that's what some people in a show called Jimmy Savile was Jimmy Savile a Wizard 1.0. Now, if you watch anything on YouTube tonight, yeah, go watch Was Jimmy Savile a Wizard 1.0, and by the end of it, you'll be like, bloody hell, he just proved that Jimmy Savile was a wizard. So you know you'll learn a lot of stuff, and they say that Leeds is the Hellmouth, and you know people who lived in Leeds might not disagree. They might say, yeah, probably. If you look genetically at Leeds, what's really interesting is it is genetically still not English. It's the people of the Elmet. So there was a different. They weren't English at all. They were Saxons more than they were English. They were there before the French got in, and where the Elmet was in the past before the invasion of William the Conqueror, or William the Bastard as he's known, where the Elmet was then is Leeds today, and still genetically they are distinct people separate from the rest. So University of Leeds is an interesting place. It's an interesting place. But this report, I haven't linked it down, I don't think. I should have linked it down. I'll put a link once. Well, I'll edit the links and I will put it on. It is available at the C40's website. This is an archived version, of course. Let me I'll also maybe I can actually post it in the chat. Post it in the chat. Can I do that? I don't know. There you go. Oh, look! Modern technology. glad we got modern technology. Otherwise, I'd just be wearing one sock, dirty underwear, and a hat that said "hit me." So you see this PDF that I've sent you, this archive to a PDF, and there are PDF versions available, is a full rundown, and their agenda is massive. Of course, we're not going to go through this. I mean, we're coming up close-ish to the end of this. I thank you all for being part of my first live stream, and we're going to come close to the end. You see here, there's kind of reduce the number of new clothing bought every year, reduce the split. Reduce supply chain waste. So emission reductions, it shows you what they want to reduce. It shows you what they want to get rid of. And now think about it, dietary changes. Now, all of those things mean that you eat less. They want you to eat less. Look, they want you to eat less. That means there's got to be less of you, or you've got to be hungry. This is basically the only way. And one of the, I don't know if I'll find it because there's so many different things in here, but one of the charts in here is showing where the most consumption is in the world. And the most consumption, this I took the cover on. Look, this is estimated people at risk by 2050. So this is by people at risk by 2050. So this isn't now. We're on 2023 and then 2024, extreme heat and then extreme heat and poverty. But this is what they do. They set forward these fears for you, don't they? They want, look, this is going to be sea level rise. Oh my God, 800 million people will be affected. Look, 2.5 billion will have no will have food insecurity. Currently, probably 4 billion have food insecurity at the moment, maybe even rising with the way they're dealing with society. So I mean, it's not like the future looks much different from the now. But all of these things, like extreme heat and poverty, food security, water availability, sea level rises, if these were all true, which I don't go with their calculations, let's say, hypothetically, if this was all true, then what would it mean? Well, it would mean that in the next 30 years, we need to develop technologies that deal with this. It doesn't mean we need to force people into mega cities, only need to let them wear free items of clothing and be authoritarians. It means we need to invest in technology that can help with water availability and filter water, and mean that we can have safe, clean water that isn't including any added chemicals and things to, make us a little bit quiet, as Herman Kahn suggested, putting in the water supply, tranquilizers and the like. Just if it gets a little bit like troublesome, then we just put a bit of tranquilizer in the water supply. That's his own words from a video with Herman Kahn. Amazing. You'll find that in the that video, him talking with Anthony J. Weiner, a guy called Anthony J. Weiner, different Anthony Weiner. You'll find that in the second Schwab piece of Dr. Klaus Schwab, or how the CFR taught me to stop worrying and love the bomb. Updated version on NEWSPASTE now, where I've edited a couple of grammatical errors. I've exchanged 160 times. I've used the words would for something else. I wasn't trained in English. Don't blame me. So anyway, but if all of these things, back to it, if all of these things were true, then we need technologies. We need to focus in on technologies. We don't need to get rid of people, stop them dressing, stop them eating, stop all of these things. But all of these charts will lead you to this. That's what they're trying to do here. They're trying their best to make you think that if you don't go with them, then all of this bad stuff will happen, and they will show you every chart. Look, they will show you little pictures. Look, and here we go. These are some of the things. So 46% energy extraction and generation is where 46% uses 46% of the power. So they want to stop with the extraction part. But technology, if we want to increase technologically in the way that we're going exponentially, we will need to do all of the energy and mineral extraction all over the world. We'll need an increase in energy. We'll need an increase in all of these things. And they talk about reduction. The only way that works is if you reduce the population. The only way it works. And again, illustration of source emissions for pairs of trousers. They're going down to the fact that they're going to get you in your underwear, just walking around in dirty underwear. That's what they want. They want the streets to look like places like, I know, San Francisco and LA have parts that are rough as hell now. They want everything to look like that because they don't live there. They don't care. They don't see the output. They don't care. And it shows the different places where all of these changes got to go on and who are the worst. Look, they all maps all around the place. All these are naughty people, but we're the people who are going to save it, because eventually these people are going to be the people who are in charge. And this document is enormous. It contains lots of the agenda and why they want, and they put all of these different sources and they put all of these different graphics, and they display them in all different types of ways to try and make us understand. Look, reduce. 60%. Okay, how do we reduce our food supply by 60%? Oh, we could get rid of 60% of the people. Overnight! Can you imagine? Boom! Get rid of 60%. Oh, that's it. Obvious. They will give you graphs that lead you to the conclusion that you have to get rid of people. This is the total fit up. This is a total fit up. It's a total fit up. They keep showing this food. In 2017, emissions associated with food were estimated to account for 13% of total consumption-based emissions across C40 cities. Roughly 3/4 of these emissions stem from consumption of animal-based foods, with the remaining 25% from consumption of plant-based food. So there you go. They really, you know what they're targeting. They're targeting the way we live our lives. And they're doing it in detail, and it is insane. It is insane. And it leads us to megacities, doesn't it? It leads us to that. It leads us to the megacities. It leads us to this. And you can see a little image of me up in the corner of the screen there. I'm actually in a place called Arica there when last year, when my ex was going to do her book tour in America, I couldn't stay in the out of the middle of nowhere place in Chile, so I had to go to on a holiday for 10 days. And I went up to Arica, which was on the border of Bolivia, Peru, and Chile, and it was wrecked. It used 2 years before COVID, it was a bustling place. Had a stadium full of people watching football matches. Had things, happening all around the place before, years ago. Now, a deserted train track. I walked through some of the slums, just people on that paste that they take everywhere, just all over the place. It was a mess. I just went round, walking around the city, looking at everybody and thinking, God. And I talked to people who lived there, and they said, "Oh, it was not like this at all. It was not like this. It was full of people all down the beach." I was like, sometimes I was the only person on an entire beach. On an entire beach. It's so wrecked. So they want to wreck these little resorts, these little places. People don't have money anymore. It turns to poverty. They get run down. They go and move somewhere else, don't they? They move to other cities. And then what happens? They move to Santiago. Santiago gets bigger. Eventually, Santiago is a definite mega city. And a mega city is already, they say population above what? How many? 10 million. So Santiago's at 8 million. That, obviously, you can see where it's going. You can. Oh, I just made my face disappear. I didn't know I could do that. There you go. Oh, and I made my face appear again. Let's read some more of the comments here. Just more of the comments. Just coming up to the end. Yeah. People are a bitch. Indeed they are. Call Diana. Ooh, we can thing. Exactly as Johnny V will take the authentic women and change the version. It is a chain reaction, and they want us all in chains. Yes, they do. Alex Jones stated on Jimmy Dore that he often had demons sitting in the passenger seat of his car. This was after he folded a paper in half, punched a hole with a pen, and called it a wormhole. Yeah, Alex Jones. Alex Jones, though. I mean, at one point he was attached to somebody, wasn't he? And then he got detached over the years, and now he's just a mess. And I have no idea. He's still got a massive following. He's still got a load of persona. But a lot of what he did in the past is more comedy than it is anything else. I find it'll be looked back upon, and it was, in a sense, to make the people of the independent media look really crazy by acting really crazy and putting that into the media. Though that one where he dressed up as was it Gay Frogs? Immense. One of the most amazing songs out there on the internet. What can you say? I know, so Doug says, I know you would like a 1,000 viewers, but it's great that this is a small group and everyone can have some input. Agreed. I know. And I don't necessarily want 1,000 viewers. I want to find a way to get out there enough that my work gets out there and that I can make some sort of like living out of this, because at the moment I can't make a living out of this. So I'd make a living, and it'd be nice to have 1,000 viewers, but listen, I'm not going to forget the people who have been there at the start, and a lot of the people who know me, who are in this chat as well, they know that I really do appreciate it. I don't cut myself off from the rest of the world. I'll never be a person just putting out a tweet and not responding to people. I like to have a conversation with people, and I'm here to have a conversation. I'm thankful you're here. This is my first ever live stream. I got 23 people. Wow, that's fucking brilliant for me. That makes me very happy, and I'm glad you're here with me. I appreciate all of you, each of you. And I'm not just saying that. I really mean I do appreciate the fact that you're on a journey with me. It's a crazy world we're living in. It's going to get crazier. I don't know how long I'll be around for. I mean, whether they shut me down online eventually or in any other way, this is a crazy world we're living in. We're entering into a new era, and these people need to shut down dissent in loads of different ways or cause a flooding of the zone, as Matthew Harrington from Edelman PR said during the event 201. Before COVID, flooding the zone with information stops voices like mine being able to come out. How about we eat our clothing? That is a possibility. If you've got, if you can make it out of rice paper, and I always like flavored rice paper. Why not? Cows are bad too. Oh, those cows, dirty rotten cows, glass back. Yeah, yes, they are. They're bad, naughty. Um, I didn't see Crocs then, so Ellen, I read Robin can be eaten, but but has no nutritional value. Robin, run! She's gonna eat you. No. Crocs can be eaten, but have no nutritional value. Well, I don't mind a little flavour to go with a little bit of nutrition, and as long as it fills my stomach and lets me survive a few more years, I'm not so upset by eating spiced crocodile meat. Um, it is very interesting, Alan. It is. Processed food has no nutritional value either. It's true. I mean, really true. I'm hoping I got some good food waiting for me. Poor Alex Jones has no idea how to defeat the demons. No. I've been noticing in stores the increase of fake meat. Yes, you'll see more of it. Fake meat, like vegan imitation meat. Yes, loads more. Thanks for the chat. Yeah. Robin, Papa Lucas, see if you can find the deep dive Matthew North did on Alex Jones and Joe Rogan. Very spooky connections. Yeah, Joe Rogan. Here's another one, isn't it? I mean, I kind of like him. Like I liked all of them at the start, and he introduced me to the intellectual dark web, and I was like, oh, the intellectual dark web, I'm going to discover them because they seem very interesting. They're saying very interesting things, and they're opposite to what I believe in lots of different ways. So I went deep into them and discovered that it is such a suspicious operation. Jordan B. Peterson follows me on Twitter. There you go. That's a bit weird. Eric Weinstein was at nearly every Edge event of when it was fully funded by Jeffrey Epstein. As far as I know, he also used to work for the UN. Doesn't mention that, does he? Oh no, don't mention the UN. I used to work for a sophisticated hedge fund, and I know the meaning of life, universe, and everything. You can trust me. Zionism. Okay, and here we go. Happy New Year, Feliz Nouveau Anno, indeed. Bonne année en français. So mostly mostly soy and other ingredients. Yes, and top of that, viruses and vaccines. Yeah, what a collection of stuff that we've got pushing us down. Soy is an adrenochrome disruptor. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. I have still not done enough research into that adrenochrome. He says, thanks, Glassbeck. I'll have a look for sure. Mimics the studio, bloody blah. Muse, we are effing effed. Good tune spells out. Yes, starving the people decreases consumption quite well. It does. Crazies always rely on statistics. Yes. Listen, Johnny, the future is your live shows. Thanks. Really enjoyed it. Not sure how I can be informed, but by chance. So forgive me for not listening live. No, that's fine. That's fine. You never have to listen live. You can listen whenever you want, if you want. I'm not going to force you. How can we fund you? Are you talking to me? Well, you can go to newspaste.com and you can become a patron where you get free stuff, or you can support me on Buy Me a Coffee. And there's options to just get donate to me monthly via another system as well if you want to. That's the best way. I mean, the best ways are just to support my work if that's for me. Maybe worth contacting UK Column for more followers. Yeah, I've had my second article published out on UK Column last week or the week before, 2 weeks ago, the Pablo Miller piece. I am going to be entering 2 articles in January for publication with UK Column. Both of them extremely interesting. One is at the moment titled A Bridge to Farrar. And I went back to try and find Jeremy Farrar's ancestry and discovered some amazing stuff. And it's a really good article. And another one's kind of related to India and Pakistan and the nuclear stuff. from the past is really interesting. Again, there's a lot about the things like Kissinger's International Seminar and Harvard within that as well, which is really interesting. There's a little dollar sign. There is a little dollar sign next to things. I have monetized my YouTube's both NEWSPASTE and YouTube now. NEWSPASTE and Johnny Vedmore. Only was allowed to Johnny Vedmore one recently because only now there's enough people who watched and all of that. So you can support me via there, and everything helps. If I can make a living out of this, and I will do this non-stop all the time, I'll be live streaming till the cows go home. Rogan and Jones go back to the that's interesting. Esalen Institute, which hosted the collection of. There's a lot of this, there's a lot of groups, glass back. There's a lot of groups where these media people come from. I was looking at one yesterday where nearly everybody I find as suspicious on the independent media right now all got given the same award. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And I'm like, that award now looks really suspicious because they've just bundled up all of the people I think are suspicious in one place. I'm not going to say what award that is yet because I got to look into it more first before I can really say that. But Ellen, thanks for all of your being there. You've been there for so many of the different. I'm in the chats normally. I'll air something, premiere it, be in the chats, and you've been there chatting away with me. Thank you so much. The Farrar stuff is interesting. Saw you and Kevin. Yeah, McCann's stream would be great to see you there again. I'd love to. And honestly, the next one is really a really interesting one. Gang, thank you. That was my first live stream. You just joined me on my first live stream, and we went through it all. And I don't feel like oh, that's really nice, Doug. Thank you. I really mean thanks. Thank you for all joining me. Thank you for being here. It's insane. I mean, insane. I should have done this a lot longer, a long time before. I should have been out here like this, but I've been building up platforms that mean that I can be independent, individual. That I don't want to have to. It's why like writing for UK Columns really good and other things like that, because they don't tell me what I have to write. They'll just decide whether they accept a story or not. And so far, it's been a yes on the two occasions that it has, because we're very much aligned. But I don't want to have to take money from an entity that's then going to push me to say a certain thing or do a certain thing. That's not what I want. So I've built this platform up myself. Thank you so much for all of your support, gang. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to understand how to use these systems, and so thank you.